You got plans this summer? You going on vacation or anything?
Well, me and Emma are talking about going to Colorado. She has pit seats for Zach Bryan, which would be fucking dope.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember her dad saying that we looked like Zach Bryan.
Really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. Have you talked
That's
to her
awesome.
parents?
Yeah,
Good.
I love her parents.
Yeah,
Steve
Steve.
is such a stand-up guy.
Yeah, he is.
And then I actually got to talk to his parents, and they owned a bunch of rentals, and that was really cool to talk to them about their trials and tribulations. You know what I mean? With
Yeah.
owning a bunch of homes.
Steve?
His
Or who?
parents.
Oh, his parents. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I was
So
like,
I gotta meet all of them on.
Uh-huh.
When was that? What holiday just passed? Is it Easter?
Easter.
Yeah, Easter.
Yeah, it
I
was
gotta meet
Easter.
them all on Easter.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was cool as shit just to talk to somebody that knew what they were talking about. They owned a bunch of houses.
That is awesome, yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know what I mean? You get to talk to somebody that has a lot of experience and like telling you what you should and shouldn't do. Like, that was cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're really interested in that stuff, so I bet
Yeah.
you liked it.
Yeah. And it was a genuine conversation. I think we sat there for like an hour.
Really?
Just talking
Yeah.
to him. Yeah. It was awesome.
What were they saying?
They really just made sure that and I think I kind of talked to you about this, like they made sure like that they had strict contracts, like they made sure that they covered obviously your behind and then just being at the properties, you know what I mean? And anytime something went wrong, they fixed it, which if you care about your property, then other people tend to care about your property, right? And then also them just knowing like, obviously you don't just drop in, but as a person that owns a house and you're renting out a house, you could say, hey, I need to come by or this week. What day works best for you? You're not just going to drop into somebody's home, but he'd make sure his properties were not being destroyed. You know what I mean? And obviously, if you build rapport with somebody over years, you're not going to keep checking on their property. But when you first meet them, probably the first 6 months to a year, you're probably going to be checking up on your property a good amount. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I don't like how it's a thing in Salina, honestly, where like landlords
Or
will,
slummy.
yeah, like they'll buy the shittiest apartments and they'll rent out to the shitty people because they know they're not going to do anything. Like, it just,
When I was thinking
Yeah.
about this, that's a depreciating asset, right? So if you're getting just your money, like let's say you own a house, like you buy a shitty house and you get somebody in it, right? Because like you said, you can rape them on rent or whatever it is.
Yeah.
They know they can make a couple bucks. And then that property just falls apart within the next 20 years. It's like, what the fuck did you buy that property for? You bought it for longevity,
Yeah.
right? So spend the extra little money, lose some money maybe in the beginning.
it's an investment in your
Yeah.
own business.
Yeah,
Like,
take care of it.
yeah.
You just should know the first 10 years that you own properties, you're probably not going to make much money.
Yeah, it's a long game for
Yeah.
sure. That's what I've always heard too.
Like, and that's what he was saying. Like, you know what I mean? If something went wrong, you don't fix it half-ass. And that's what a lot of these landlords do. They like, let's find a little fix. It's like, if something went wrong, just fix the full amount. If your furnace is going out, maybe just drop the fucking $3K and just fix it fully. You know what I mean? Put a new furnace in.
Yeah.
And when people see you take care of your properties like that, they want to take care of your shit. And it just makes sense to me. If you know your landlord doesn't give a fuck and they're a pain in the ass to fix shit, you know what I mean, when you call them, you're not going to give a fuck as much. But if you know your landlord's like there all the time and he always takes care of you guys, he answers his phone when stuff goes wrong, then you're like, okay, like, you know what I mean? You just naturally want to take more care of it. You take pride in it.
Absolutely, man. Yeah.
And that's somebody else's home. And I think it's just a vulnerable thing. Like, I don't get it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, somebody's making that their home. So you want to give them a good experience too. You know what I mean? You'll never know when you're going to meet those people again in life. Like, you don't want to just be a shitty person and not take
Yeah.
care of your shit.
Yep.
And they're trying to live in it.
Gotta turn right back around on you.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, what do you do when your house turns to shit too after you haven't taken care of it for years?
You just condemn it. Like, yeah, what would you do if everything's
Yeah.
falling apart? Like, and that's
No
where
one's
those
gonna want to
fixture...
rent out of it
Yeah.
continuously. Like,
And that's where you
fuck.
see these big
No one's
fixture
gonna want to
uppers.
buy it.
Yeah. You see these big fixer-uppers in Salina, I'm convinced that's what happens. These houses just fall apart. And then it takes a huge crew to either... You're going to have to drop $50K to get it back to where it's livable and just good, or you're going to condemn the house and probably build a new one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I just don't get that.
Luckily, we know some people.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
That's what our family does. So.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was weird on the last podcast how people thought I had conservative views just because I had more rational thinking about some of the left ideologies, which is, it seems interesting to me. And I sent in the group chat, and I will put the two pictures up. It shows like different countries, like on the authoritarian and libertarian, which I'm sure you know what that means, but I'm gonna explain it. So authoritarian is like the government has like all of the control, and then libertarian is the exact opposite. It's like they want total freedom. I fell right in the middle of that, so I do think the government should be involved in some stuff, and I do believe in that we should also have freedom. Like, I don't want the government watching our phones all the time or tracking our money. Like, I think that's weird. Why would you do that? Stuff I do think the government should be involved in would be like healthcare.
Yeah.
Like, that seems pretty fair to me. I do believe in stuff like that. I can't think of any other stuff on the top of my head. Also, like, I'm fairly liberal. Like, I believe in all equality. I believe in equal opportunity. I am pro, what is it called? Like, pro parental choice. I think
Yeah.
two parents should make the choice of an abortion.
Yeah.
I don't think it should be one-sided.
Yeah.
But some of the stuff to me has overcorrected itself, and it's just gone too far. Where, like, even if, like, JFK's views now, and he was very liberal in his time. He was pro civil rights, and he was trying to dismantle the CAA.
Yeah.
And he was trying to get rid of monopolies. And that now is seen as conservative to me in this country.
Yeah, so I was just actually talking to somebody about this the other day. So have you ever seen over the like our country's been around for like 200 years or 300 years, whatever it is. It's very new. But conservative and Republican and Democrat, it's changed over the years. Meaning like a Republican, like during Abraham Lincoln's time, he was a Republican. But he was actually, if you look at it for his time, he was
a
very,
Democrat.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
like it is weird because I'm starting to see that too, where like conservative people, I think typically are just more, it's just it's rational thinking, I think,
Yes.
at times. Not the extremes, because there's extremes on both sides. But I think I
think
lean,
there's more intrigues on the Democratic
Yeah.
side right now.
Yeah.
Which they even kicked out RFK because he was a rational Democratic.
yeah, which is weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's so liberal.
Yeah. It's ridiculous to
It's
me.
funny to hear you say that though, because knowing you as a, you know what I mean, growing up with you, you're my brother. Like,
Yeah.
you've always been extremely, like, just a free thinker. Like, you never judge a book by its cover, and
We're both like that.
Yeah.
All of us are.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think I lean very conservative on policies, meaning like, as far as war goes, or like, I don't know. I like what conservative means, which is like, let's not burn down a bridge. Let's not take something down without understanding why it didn't work.
Well, I think the
I
same thing
like
with
that.
liberal policies too are the same way. Like, we put up some of those policies and we met in the middle for a reason. And now it's just like they're trying to abolish it all. And they're not looking at why we put this stuff in place now.
Which is not actually, that's like, what is that? That's not even democratic. That's just fucking, it's really anarchy.
Yeah, it's
like,
anarchist.
why would you take down a bunch of, like, defunding the fucking police is just the most insane one. And then now they're calling for those police to come back, but nobody wants to be a policeman anymore. Like in those big cities where crime is just through the roof now because they defunded police. It's just like, well, what do you think's going to happen when you do stuff like that? We need police. We should want the people that protect us. We should trust them. We should pay them good. You know what I mean? We should give them more training. Like, it makes no sense. Like, why would you ever... They're protectors. It should be like a idolized job. You should look at a policeman and you should respect them. Right? And I've always felt that way. You know what I mean? For law enforcement, military, I think all of our family has like...
And that's a socialist idea. Policemen and fire department. Like, the governments are in control. So it's ridiculous to me that now the Democratic Party is against it, because that is literally a socialist thing.
Yeah.
So
And you're seen as like a servant, right? When
Yeah.
you're in those fields.
Yeah.
Literally, like you're serving the community. Like, it
think
should be
people
a very
forget-
respected job.
Yeah, it should be a respected job. And I think people forget how liberal America is. I mean, shit, we have gay rights, dude.
Yeah.
Like, that is as liberal as it fucking gets. And the fact that we can push and have freedom of speech and we can say the things that we say is like, that's freedom.
Yeah.
Like it really is.
In other countries, you're literally getting killed, right? To just
North
talk.
Korea, they have to have the same haircut as Kim Jong-un.
Yeah.
I mean, if you looked at the chart, like how left North Korea was, insane. And those are the ideologies that people are bringing to America. Like the cancel culture, you can't talk about stuff. That is ridiculous.
Well, there's a lot of
ridiculous.
There's a lot of like people talking about right now, which is is this like set up? Because these ideologies are getting preached in schools. Well, what everybody doesn't know what they're agreeing to is giving government all control.
Yes. All authority.
Right? And
It's insane.
COVID was number one. It showed that they could tell you what to do.
Yeah.
And everybody panicked and was like, what the fuck? And you just listened. You sat down and you listened. You didn't, nobody like had uprisings about it. Everybody just kind of listened. And I think at the start of COVID, we were all a little scared. I remember our family being just like a little nervous. And then we get like 2 or 3 months into it and we realize it's a fucking charade. Well, it's like nobody we know is dying, right? It's older people. And I think we should protect older people, but it's like, you know what I mean? Keep them home then. That's what you do with older people, or don't like constrict nursing homes if you don't like limit the visitations, or you know what I mean? There's other things we could have done during that time if you wanted to save the people that were at risk, but it was literally people with a lot of comorbidity factors, whether that was you're extremely overweight or, you know what I mean? And now it's crazy. Did you just see the CDC classified it as the flu? So something that we said literally 2021, we said it was killing everybody. And now we're classifying it as, oh, this is just like a flu.
Yeah, I mean, what is the number one way to get authority over everyone? It's fear.
Yeah, scare.
You put the fear of people and they will listen to you. And that's exactly what they were preaching on the news. I mean, what they had on there was crazy. They were talking about how much people were dying and you really have to wash your hands. First off, it's an airborne virus.
Yeah, if you're
people are going to get it no matter what.
There's
Being in your
nothing we
own
could've
homes,
done.
yes,
There's nothing
is not going to help.
No.
You're going to get it no matter what. And the masks didn't even help. They weren't doctor regulated. And first of all, it doesn't prevent you from getting the virus. It prevents you from spreading it.
Yeah.
So if you didn't have it, there was no reason to wear one.
When they even did so much research about it, and AN95 was really the most effective mask, right? Because even when you're wearing those normal doctor
No
masks,
one was wearing those masks.
it goes over. It's airborne, right? So if you're breathing, it could go out of your mask still. It just made no sense. And people were wearing like handkerchiefs, all sorts of just crazy shit.
Yeah.
And then I was watching...
and people are getting lit up if they're not wearing the mask, or
Yeah.
if you're outside of your house, like, dude, go get some fucking sun or something. Like, that's what you should be doing anyways.
When I was watching a thing that we should try those people, right? Those are like crimes against humanity. We killed a lot of young people. We put them on ventilators, which we realized was like the craziest mistake ever. Like, you're inflating young people's lungs. Like, they were sick. But they weren't, what was her name that I was watching? She's pretty intelligent, but she was just basically saying like the amount that they inflated numbers, we literally caught Fauci lying numerous times in emails saying that he didn't even agree with the bullshit that he was preaching.
Yeah.
People died with the way that we dealt with things, you know what I mean? And not even because of the disease, like literally just, you know what I mean? I think it all had to do with like fear and gaining control over people.
Capitalism too. They're pushing out the drugs so they can make money off of it, and that's exactly what the hospitals did. And none of the doctors, a lot of them weren't doing their own research. They're doing what they're being told, and they're capitalizing also off of the pharmaceutical companies.
Yeah.
And I even have the book that Robert F. Kennedy book, The Real Anthony Fauci. I haven't read it all. I read some of it just because it's so analytical, and to me at times was boring. So I was like, all right, I got to switch it up. But there was literally not as many deaths as people think. They were so exaggerated on the news.
Crazy.
And literally they were counting deaths that weren't even from coronavirus. They were from other diseases like obesity or other underlying reasons why they were dying.
Yeah.
It was not because of coronavirus. Old age, that was a big part of the number that took over from the people that were dying from coronavirus.
Yeah.
It was old age and obesity. And of course, if you're old or obese, you are not going to be able to fight the virus as well.
Yeah.
So it's just so silly.
Well, even looking at how many people die of just the normal flu every year, like influenza or whatever, like those numbers are way crazier than, like as far as young people dying, right? Like you didn't see a crazy amount of young people dying from this virus. It was just so overinflated, and the kids that did die, I think, were posted. You know what I mean? They made big stories about it, or they inflated. It's just crazy. I think Fauci should be in prison.
I do too, for what he did. He's pushing out the medicine that is barely even researched enough to even have people take. There is literally mercury in it, and they're telling little kids to take this. We have a policy in place in America that kids can't even take certain shots because it has mercury. Like, that is insane that you're telling kids to take these shots now. And we even had medicine to go against coronavirus, but Fauci discredited all of them. In fact, they were burning medicines in other countries and telling people that they had to stop making the medicine so he could push out his own pharmaceutical propaganda.
Well, it goes back to that. What were we talking about the last podcast? Are we all in on this together? Is it one country or is it all country? Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's what was it? I forgot who was talking about it, but it's like, it just seems unreal because it was like the whole world. Every country locked down their people. Every country was in on it. And you're like, that's just crazy. Like, it doesn't even fucking make sense. And then what's even more interesting to me, what's even crazier, is that you can't sue. You can't sue against vaccines. So, not only that, they profited like a motherfucker. But then you can't go back and actually, like, if anybody had bad effects, you know what I mean, from that vaccine, which I had what is it called? The HPV shot. And we got it, like, you get 3 rounds of it when you're a kid, and I have chronic hives, and I had all sorts of weird autoimmune shit for years, you know what I mean, that I'm just now starting to come out of, and I still have a lot of symptoms of autoimmune things, but it's crazy to me that, like, you can't hold those people accountable when you're rushing out a vaccine. Like, that vaccine that I took, they don't do that vaccine anymore. They do a different variation of it. And Nikki, our Aunt Nikki, had the same thing where she had a crazier reaction to a vaccine too. It's crazy to me that, you know what I mean, you can't hold those people accountable. Like, when you're rushing out this shit just for pure profit.
Yeah.
Pure profit.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And there were people dying more from the vaccine than the actual virus itself. And they were allowed to say it was from the virus too because they died from the vaccine.
Yeah.
And there was definitely medications that other doctors tried to speak up about, but the news weren't putting it on anything. And doctors allowed stuff to get to the worst point until they treated someone. They could have given medicine out right away to people to even stop them from getting symptoms, but they waited because there's nothing that we could do right now until
They
the
acted
point
like
where
we
they
had
have to give you the
like we
vaccine.
had no medicine.
Yes.
They acted like
Yeah.
vitamin C was a huge thing that they came out, a huge study.
Well, I'm talking about vitamins that, like, you can't even get from the store. I do think you should take vitamin C or vitamin D, but I'm talking about, like, hydrochloroquine or ivermectin.
Yeah, where they roasted Joe Rogan.
Yes.
They said it was a horse medicine.
Yes, when it's known for, like, people in Africa take it all the time because of mosquitoes and other diseases.
Yeah.
It is not just horses that take it.
Yeah.
Like, and they could
And
have...
it's a different form of the medicine.
Yeah.
It's not even the same shit that you're using. Like, it's just crazy the way they made it sound. But I'm even saying, like, just as far as, like, basic stuff, like, they didn't even just say, like, Joe Rogan was, like, just, like, talking about, like, they didn't even preach, like, just normal health, right? Like, you should be fitter, right? Obviously. You should be taking, obviously, high doses of vitamin C. Anything that's going to help your
Vitamin
immune
D.
system. Or, yeah, vitamin D. Like, they didn't preach any of that. Like you said, they just acted like you were fucked and you needed to be in your house, and no doctors were, like you said, they just waited till it got too long. And I don't think on a local level doctors knew. I just don't think they did research, right?
Yeah,
You don't
I
look
agree.
into it.
They didn't do research. Is
Right.
what happened, and they're 100 playing into it of I'm doing what my boss is telling me to do, so that's what they did, and they didn't look into themselves. And the doctors that did speak out got the worst end of it, and were even fired from their jobs just because they had to do critical thinking. And we're like, this is fucked up what we're doing. We can treat these people. Like, there were literally doctors fired for trying to treat patients before them getting worse because they
Yeah.
actually didn't want them to die.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't have to let people die.
No.
We could have gave the medicine to prevent it right away.
And wasn't ivermectin, I think when they came out about it, it was a generic drug. So something you could get very easy, and they took it off the fucking shelf. They made it like really hard to obtain.
It was actually hydrochlor. Yeah,
Was
well,
it-
both were. Hydrochloroquine was the first one. And so what they did with the hydrochloroquine companies, well, Trump actually even said it. Trump said that.
Yeah, and he took the whole cocktail.
Yes, and so everyone's animosity against this guy allowed them to say, since Trump said this, we're going to do the exact opposite.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely fucking stupid. It's like, he had a very valid point. We all could have been taking hydrochloroquine, and Dr. Fauci even had companies saying they could not make the product anymore, and they were literally burning the pills that they did have so no hospitals could get them.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Those people should be in prison.
Yeah.
Like, there's just no... And it's crazy, like, look at Trump. Dislike him, hate him, whatever. He literally got COVID. He eats McDonald's all the time, eats like shit, and he took that medicine, and he flew through
And he's
it.
old.
Yeah, and he flew through
old as
it.
fuck.
He's old as fuck.
Yeah.
And flew through it. And it's just a medicine that we just made it hard for American people to get. Because they didn't like who was talking about it, or I think they made it easier for them not to give out that medicine, because I think what it came down to is just profit, right?
It was.
Like,
It was
they just wanted to
100%
make money.
profit. I'm not going to be like a conspiracy theorist where like they're putting fucking chips in us or something.
No, money.
Yeah.
It came down to money, and that's
That's how it is in the whole world.
That's our whole problem with healthcare in general right now.
Yeah.
We treat symptoms. Like, it's funny in HVAC. I was just talking to Dad about this. Like, we call them part replacers in the trade school. It's funny. It's like, you go fix a unit, right? You see what's clearly wrong, like a contact or something's fried, and you just replace that. But you don't diagnose why it went wrong. You don't trace it back and try to figure out why is that contactor fried, because it's never just a simple thing. And even with your health, you know what I mean? When you go to a doctor, a surgeon just wants to perform surgery, or when you get sick, they just want to give you antibiotics. They don't want to, you know what I mean? It's all about the money game.
What is actually going on with their body?
Yeah,
and
like,
why
let's
is their
do
body
blood
reacting this
work.
way?
Let's do a blood panel.
Yeah.
Like, Ian had to pay extra money to go do a blood panel to get a full workup, which you should just have like, it shouldn't be expensive to do. Just to see like where he's actually lacking, right? That should just be a standard thing when you go into a checkup, right?
Yeah,
Draw
it
your
should.
blood,
It really should. I'd get that done for.
and then you're
me
deficient.
too.
You can see your deficiencies, or you could see what your risks are, right? Like, Ian had some concerning things come up about his liver. So he's going to go into the doctor. He would have never known. Ian's a healthy dude. You'd never think that there's going to be some markers where you're a little weird. And it could just be his liver enzymes are a little higher because of drinking or whatever. But you know what I mean? Like, he knows now. Like, he saw something concerning, and now he can go talk to a doctor and treat that. If he really does have a problem, he's going to know here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he doesn't know exactly what the markers mean, or if they were excessively high or not. You know what I mean? And it's just interesting to me. It's like, we don't have good access to those things. Doctors don't preach like how not to come into us, right? Which is be healthy. You know what I mean? Like, let's get these full blood workups, and they just want to perform surgery, or they want to treat your symptoms because that's how they get paid.
Yeah, I don't think they, like you said, they're not treating people right. They're worried about money. It's capitalist market for doctors. I do think we have the fastest acting medical available in our country. I mean, you go to Canada and they're talking about waiting to go to a doctor for hours.
Oh, 100%.
Like, we 100% have it readily for us, like it's available, but they treat it in a capital way where they're trying to make money rather than...
And it's hard. So I've
Yeah.
had this conversation. I don't know what you think. You can't have free healthcare. Because when you do free healthcare, that's
Who's
what
going to want to do
happens.
those jobs?
Yeah.
It is tough. I am honestly, I would think it'd be awesome if we could have free healthcare. If we could figure it out and
But even logistically, as far as
Yeah.
like you're talking about the waiting in line, that's why like it's hard.
that's why.
You're waiting in line because everybody can get. And I don't know what you do in that situation. It's such a complex. But at the
is complex, yeah.
lowest level, you should be. I don't know. It's hard because in a perfect world, I want everybody to have access to the best doctors.
What Dad said to me made so much sense. He said that we should have free healthcare for pharmaceuticals, so that way these companies could not make money off of the pharmaceuticals and make certain drugs that we don't even need anymore, like the making of the vaccine of the coronavirus vaccine when we already had medication available. Like there's a lot of medicine right now that's being made that we already have stuff for.
So that's super
So,
smart.
Yeah.
So like as far as just pure medication goes,
Yeah.
not making that hard to have access to, which is
I mean,
genius.
I forgot what medication it was. It was a lot of medications are so cheap to make, and they are making thousands of dollars off of for how cheap it is to make, which is crazy.
Well, I'm like looking at this. You just saying that is funny because that's the economy right now.
Yeah.
None of this stuff cost. It's all about supply and demand. Like toilet
Right.
paper. You ever notice that toiletries went up like 80%? It's like an astronomical
Who's
amount
not
of
going to
money.
wipe their ass?
Yeah. So what they realized when during COVID is everybody was fucking grabbing fuck tons of toilet paper, right? And toiletries, stuff that you're going to need. And then they're like, oh, we can make this more expensive. And it never went back down. And this is where like inflation gets very complicated because they know you need it. They know you need food and they know you need toiletries. Well, what do you buy the most? And this is where if you're looking at household homes right now that are struggling the most, it's literally bare necessities is what cost a lot. You don't care if your car, a new car goes up a couple thousand, right? Or 5,000 even.
You're going to buy that car.
Because you
Yeah.
buy a car like maybe 4 times in your life, right? But when you're going to the fucking store, like I went to Walmart and I literally bought like razors, deodorant, like stuff that you just need. $300 by myself.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's what Mom and Dad used to spend on us for a family of
2
six.
shopping carts.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yes, for a family of
$300.
6, dude. We're getting this for like 2 people now, or you said that you just spent that on yourself, not even for like
On
family
myself.
living?
But
Wow.
that was toiletries, like that was razors, deodorant, and
I
then
spent
just
up to
buying food.
$200 on groceries before.
And it's just
yeah.
crazy. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, this makes no sense. And then, you know what I mean? We ask people why they're going broke. Well, that's why you're going broke. You don't care if inflation, like literally homes, any of those things, it's common, right? For the market to go up a little bit at a time. But when I was
is
watching,
bad.
when I was
It is
watching
bad
this
right
guy
now.
talk about it, he's like, where you start to go broke is when the bare necessities cost fuck tons of money. And it's not due to because they can't create them for cheap. It's just right now they know they can charge money because you need it.
Yeah.
And I don't know how. I just think we used to break up big companies, right? And everybody's so scared to do it now. Because I think our country's like, we're almost, and that's where like even as a capitalist, I'm like guys like freaking
There's to a point where it's too much.
too much.
Did
too
you
much
see
power.
the stuff where the farmers coming together to make their own, like to be like the Tyson plant? They're producing their own meat now. They're processing their own meat. They literally
genius.
made their own factory, so they got rid of the middleman. So they're like, oh yeah, fuck you guys. You guys aren't paying us enough. So now in America, all the farmers put together like $3 million to make their own processing company,
It's
so they can
genius.
give back to themselves more. How awesome is that, bro?
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Gareth, even on a local level.
I'm gonna look this up.
You know
just
the
so.
Pettijohns, that's
Yeah.
what they're doing. They're hauling their own grain.
Yeah.
You take out the middleman, right? Then everybody wins.
Yes.
Fuck the middleman.
Yeah, they're growing corn and they're making so much money
they're
by
hauling-
selling it their own.
Yeah, they're hauling all their own grain.
Yeah.
And
It's
they're doing
fucking
it for their
awesome.
neighbors too. It's genius.
Yeah.
It's genius. Take
Now
out
you
the
don't
middleman.
have these fucking monopolies running everything. It's so pretty. It's so fucking
That's
cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was happening.
Yeah.
Where's this going down at? Is this like nationwide right now in America?
Nationwide. I'm pretty sure.
awesome.
I'm gonna look it up so I can get the facts right. Farmers. So they're beating all these companies: Tyson, JBS, Cargill,
Huge.
National Beef.
Today, 4 companies control around 85% of the beef market.
And they broke it all up. themselves.
That's awesome.
Isn't that insane?
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty badass. I thought it was cool.
That's cool as fuck. We
Yeah.
need shit like that to start happening.
Yeah, we need to start breaking up these monopolies in this country.
Maybe that's how you do it too, right? In numbers. When enough people get tired of the bullshit, you band together and you create it, something, right?
Yeah.
Because you realize, like, everybody thinks, like, it's almost, like, stuff like that seems overwhelming, right? Like, when it's just one person. But if you can get a group of people in on something, you can make a fucking change.
Yeah, you really can. Yeah. We the people, right?
Yeah.
We control this country, so.
I fully believe in that, too, yeah.
I do, too, yeah. If we get enough people to talk about it and actually talk about the shit that is going wrong, like, I really believe, like, one person can change tons of people's lives. If one person changed 10 people's lives and those 10 people change another 10 people's lives, that's 100 people. Those 100 people change 10 people's lives, that's 1,000.
Yeah.
Like, that's fucking insane.
Yeah, and it just spirals, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy to think about.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, 100% I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think people, it's hard as when I listen to our generation is because we see so many crazy things posted on the news, right? So you get to see everything now, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And it's almost like I think it feels overwhelming. Like people think that their vote doesn't matter or like, me and Ian have been talking about this. Start at your local level.
Yeah, you should.
Start at your local level, right?
Yeah.
Figure out the shenanigans, the bullshit that's going on in your own town and actually vote. Because while a lot of this shit's getting passed or money's being given, you know what I mean, that we don't know where it's going, is because nobody's voting on the issue. So they're just getting the money, right? If you have only 100 people go vote on something serious, you know what I mean? Like, it's not going to fucking matter. But if you could get your whole community in on it and get people to actually go vote and, like, I think this year is the first year where I, like, realized how big of a deal that was. You know what I mean?
You
like,
can make a big difference in your own county. Like, there is even, like votings for fluoride in this county. I had one of my clients tell me about that because he said his mom is involved in the town stuff all the time, and he was saying that, like, yeah, there was a voting for fluoride, and how coincidentally that it was on there was an event this day, like there was a parade or something as we're having the town vote.
Really?
Yes. Like, they do like shady stuff all the time.
Oh, and we know about, like, and I don't even want to say people's names, but it's just crazy the money that our city has given certain
What they're
people.
using the money on.
Yeah.
They're not even using it on the shit that they're
And then
actually supposed to.
Nobody's going to jail, which is even crazier. And you're just like,
They just
how
keep
is
giving
this
money
happening?
back to each other, yeah.
Yeah, it's the rich get richer. And it's literally happening. And we're,
In our own county.
I guess we're lucky enough to know the people to see it happen. I
Yeah.
don't think a lot of people even know.
I don't think a lot of people do know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We just I guess we know enough people in this town where you're like, dude, this doesn't even make sense. Like, how is this happening? How did you get this much money? Where did this money go? There's no, like, tracking where the money went. Our city just give them the fucking money. And you're just like, what's going on? You know what I mean? And then, like you said, like, misuse of funds. Like, they just go buy new shit.
Yeah.
Like, new houses and...
Just fucked up. Our government should be definitely tracking where that money is going, especially if we're giving it to those people. Like, why would you not give it to them incrementally and get receipts and stuff? Like, who is dumb enough to give, like, a massive amount of money to just, like, one person and just be like, okay.
We trust you.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. It's
Yeah.
actually fucking absurd.
Yeah.
And I just don't even understand that part, like, where it's crazy because that's not just local, like, that's our Kansas, that's our government, and they're, like, allowing those funds to pass. And then it's like, you wonder why this country's in a financial crisis. Well, why the fuck are we giving, you know what I mean? Our dollar by the day, and I really do believe this, is going down.
Yeah, there's a big separation right now from the middle class and rich class.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge. I was watching a thing that now, to be considered middle class in this country, it's like upwards of 150 to 200,000.
Yeah.
That's insane.
That is wild to be in middle class.
So, like, right now,
Yeah.
in Salina, our cost of living is definitely lower, but we would be considered dirt poor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I feel it. Like, what I make now, fucking 2 years ago, used to be a great wage.
Yeah.
Right? And then I
We're
go
making 30% less than what we actually are making.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, me and Ian were even talking about the taxing is crazy. They tax you out of your paycheck. Then they tax you when you buy food. Then they tax you at the end of the year.
And then they use it on dumb shit for like environmental studies.
Yeah.
I would really be like curious to actually see if that's what it's going towards, because I don't think it is.
No, I think it's going to the 1%.
Yeah.
Where they're just misusing the money.
And they keep funding the campaigns and like saying, oh,
and then if you hug
send
the
us more
line,
money.
and I kind of changed my mind about this, and then if you hug the line and you do too many write-offs in a year or something, like you're going to be in tremendous trouble. What are you talking about? You taxed me 3 times this year.
Yeah.
You taxed me on my paycheck. You taxed me for my food and my goods. And then you're taxing me at the end of the year.
And then you still have to pay in.
Yeah. So me and
like,
Ian were
shit,
doing
man.
the math. I think if you made $60,000, you really made like 30 to 40. It's fucking crazy how much money they're taking from you in a year. And then you're paying in. If you make over 60 in Salina, you're paying in. If you don't own a business, if you don't have access, I'm talking about like just workforce guys are feeling that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
our workforce guys should be some of the highest paid people. Why the fuck are we? You know what I mean?
Yeah, they should.
Making
They
it not a livable
literally
thing.
make up America.
Yeah.
It is the middle class that makes up America and lower. Like
Yeah.
it's definitely not the rich people that are making America, and it's crazy to me that they have all the authority over us.
Yeah.
Something has definitely got to change. It sounds like almost like very libertarian. Some libertarian stuff I do agree with. I don't think the government should have as much control. Ian's pretty libertarian, huh?
Yeah.
I have noticed that. I've talked to him and he actually makes a lot of sense. Like he puts it in a great way.
Oh,
We
he's
should get him
super-
on sometime.
No, you need.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
is such a deep thinker too.
Yeah. I like his thought process a lot, because I'm like, dude, I have not thought about that at all. I'm like,
Oh,
seriously.
he'll like literally change my mind about things. Like he just thinks about it in such a deep fucking way, and you're like,
Right.
I don't know if I ever thought about it that way. Very smart kid.
Yeah, he's smart. Yeah.
And talking about a kid that's feeling it, you know what I mean, in a trade where he should be getting paid big and just, you know
The
what I
thing
mean?
with
Struggling.
libertarian, though, I think it has to be smaller centralized governments, and I think that would mean America would have to break up into like dioceses or like even the states governing themselves. I don't think libertarian works on a really big scale. I think the same thing with socialism. Like why socialism works for like what's that one religion, like they always wear the same stuff and they live on the ranch and everything. They don't have electronics.
Amish. People do
Amish.
that, yeah.
Yes, so that is literally socialism. I don't think that works on a very big scale. You cannot run a country like the Amish. But the Amish work because it's small and they all work for each other. Like they don't have a currency. They're helping everyone else.
Yeah, it's all trade.
Yes,
right?
exactly. But on a big scale for a
That doesn't
country,
work.
no.
It's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable, right?
But I think
yeah.
people get this misconstrued. I don't think if you put Trump in a... I hate that people hate on him. It's so crazy to me. If you put Trump in a... What is it called? If you're just looking at his policies and stuff, he gave states most of the power. That is the definition of being a libertarian. He let Texas... Even when you talk to him about abortion, he's like, dude, I don't know. Like, leave it up to the states. If you want to go have an abortion, you want that, like, you can go to this state, right? If you want to go smoke pot, you go to this state, right?
Yeah,
like,
smart. It's fucking genius. You go hang out where your people are at.
But I think where it works well is,
Yeah.
like you said, on the big things, government has to control.
Yes, on bigger things it does, yeah.
And I think that's where it's a hard thing, because it's like how much control, right? But I think on huge issues, you're going to have a bigger government, like, to deal with those things.
Yeah, but
and
for the most thing, I think it should be smaller government for the states.
Yeah.
We control most of the stuff. We decide what our state wants to do. And then, like, federal laws, I don't know. Because there's some laws that I'm like, okay, no, the states should make up some laws too. See, this is where it gets complicated. It's
Well,
like,
do you like
this is where it gets complicated with libertarian.
Yeah.
I love Vivek. Yeah,
And
I think
he's
smart, yeah.
another guy. He's
Yeah.
like if I feel like if Trump just spoke well, he just agrees with a lot of the same things. Like, let's leave most of the power to the states.
Yeah.
And then honestly,
Most, not all.
yeah.
Yeah.
Where I think
yeah.
I think he even talks about it too is there has to be some things you can't release to the public. And the public, we are in a weird spot to where the public can honestly find information about a lot of crazy, shady shit. And honestly, it's just deeper than what we know.
Yeah.
And you can't release a lot of that to the general public because then people go into like panic mode and like, so I don't know, like on those deeper seated issues as far as I think when it comes to war and what we do there and those other bigger issues, like you can't let the general public know it. Like it's crazy. They do have to hide some things from us, right? From the general public. And I think
they really do. And
it's misconstrued. That's their job, right?
Yeah, it is. I am 100% that you don't want fear into everyone. I mean, if you think about being a leader, you're going to have to not be able to tell people some certain things so that way they don't get scared.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to speak the right way to inform people. And even if that means informing them later on after you have resolved the issue, to be like, okay, you don't have to worry about it right now, but this is what happened.
And in that standpoint, though, I think you're always going to be demonized.
Yeah.
So there always is going to be like where we're going to look back later and we're going to be like the government could have handled that better. Mm-hmm. And I think we got to realize that too. But I think where we're at right now is it's gone way too far. Meaning, I feel like it really is just fear mongering.
Yeah.
Like they're trying to gain a lot of control of our people.
A lot of emotional charges with the news, and they have so much authority over us right now.
What the fuck do you do about the news situation? Like I just keep thinking about that on a daily basis. It's like
you create a free market for news. You don't let. I think you should take politics. Like I don't think you should let certain politics invest into their news sources. So I think the people should run it. The people should, like what they do with Breaking Points, that YouTube channel that started their own news source. Mm-hmm. They literally have the people funding it. They are not getting funded by certain parties.
Like big donors.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. They don't have really big donors from like the Democrat or Republican. These are all U.S. citizens putting money into it. It's not a political party behind it like Fox News or CNN.
That's trying to push a narrative, right?
Yes, exactly. Yes.
That literally is swaying fucking elections. This has to be the most criminal thing of our time. And I did not agree with Trump about this. He's talking about giving government control over a lot of media. No. They already have control. Mm-hmm. So I just don't even understand what he said, like he means by that when he's talked about it a few times, because he's been demonized the most out of anybody. Love him, hate him or not, what they're doing to him is fucking crooked.
A lot of the stuff is what you're doing in crooked. What I don't like about Trump, I think he creates controversy on purpose and kind of plays a role to get people to not like him, so his name stays out there all the time.
Which I do think created a lot of division in our country, especially with just the way he spoke. And you've never seen that as a president, right? Where he divided our country just because he talked arrogantly.
To me
and I do agree with that.
Yeah, what you're saying 100% and behind too. But to me personally, I do think I want to vote Republican because I think the Democratic Party has become too radical. Mm-hmm. And I think we need to balance it out by with a Republican Party.
Just have a different perspective.
Yes. Okay. So we can come together and meet in the middle. I love RFK. And I do think he's literally the middleman that is perfect. I don't think people are going to listen to him as much and respect him as much as I would, though. Just because
I like him.
Of the polarization.
If I could choose who I want to run this country right now, it'd be Vivek. And I think he is.
Vivek is
and I think he is more libertarian. I really do like RFK. What's his name?
RFK.
Yeah, RFK. Yeah, I really like him a lot. I really just think it's just crazy to me because when I look at this situation, I think why I talk about it so much with Trump, I'm like, if this happened at any other stage in life, there would be fucking revolts.
Yeah.
Like, you can't say that anything he said was bullshit. Mm-hmm. Meaning to the extent of what he said it, like, as far as there's some voter fraud, it's literally a lot of that's been proven true as far as the mail-in ballots were fucking crazy. Mm-hmm. He said fake news forever, and then you realize that the media was swaying it one way. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't just what he said, they also played into, they only showed one side. So if Trump said something outlandish, they only showed that one side. They didn't show the 4 hours of the entire, you know what I mean? And
they do it all the time.
I don't love the guy. I go off of policies, and I liked where our economy was at when he was our president.
I do too.
That's it.
I can 100% get behind the economy, like how financially we were doing. As a
But to run a country, I think you need both, right? You need to be able to speak.
yes, he's not. He
can't speak.
He can't speak. Yeah.
He can't stick to a fucking script, and I do agree with when anybody says, like, I do agree he divided this country astronomically with just the way he spoke, but I think the media really fucking demonized him too, and that divided our country.
That also did. It was both parties, yeah.
They wanted him to be hated, and also he did a good job of making it to possible, you know what I mean, by some of the shit he said.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's crazy because if you look at, like, the amount of black people that he exonerated, no president's done that. Like, the things that he did for our country, even with, like, gas or all these things that he did, just nobody talks about. And it's just like, well, you got to show both sides, right?
Well, there is quite a few black conservatives, and I'm even reading a book about a gay conservative, Douglas Murray. And it's funny how if you're a black conservative or a gay conservative, that people automatically are like, how dare you?
Like,
you're not for
them.
You betrayed
crazy.
them, and it's like, dude, you can have different ideologies and still be a different demographic. It's
And I think
very
our way,
strange.
I think our way of thinking is very similar, but we're very different on what we like as far as like a lot of things. But we're sitting here and we're having a cordial conversation, and I think what we both can see each other's side of views, and I just don't know why we don't have those conversations anymore. It's like people feel like if they like a certain person, they have to walk on edge or they have to
We can
hide.
talk about drag shows in high school and stuff, but we can't talk about Christianity or, God forbid, if you're talking about left politics in college or high school, people applaud it. But if you have a conservative thought,
You're a racist asshole.
yeah.
It's literally what I was like. That's what I saw in high school. It's like if you're a conservative in high school, especially during Trump, it's like you're a racist.
Well, even me being liberal and having some conservative thoughts, people have told me I'm not liberal.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's
like,
fucking
dude,
insane.
it's like,
you don't know me. What are you talking about?
yeah, exactly. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
It's weird. The country is at a very weird point in time. It's the attitudes of extremists and how they express it towards other people that I think is making the country fall apart.
Yeah, 100%.
Get into the P. Diddy stuff.
Dude, it's crazy.
He fled the country. He fled the country, bro.
Yeah. And like nobody's dude, it's just crazy. Like honestly, when I watched it, I thought it was fucking fake because I don't think there's any rapper ever that just held such a clean image. And I was honestly, when I heard it, I thought it was like a fucking joke.
He's so low key. But he has the most produced songs. Like he produces the most rapper songs.
What I didn't realize, he's a fucking billionaire too. Like he's filthy rich.
Yeah, he just stays low key. He doesn't rap. He just helps give rappers money for if you scratch my back.
Did you see like they're releasing some of the Rodney guy that came out that's having this class action lawsuit. He was the one that got me to believe it. Because he said a lot of things that were factually true as far as there's eyewitness statements that came out, and he basically just said like, dude, all celebrities are in on this. It's like there's like these groups and like weird shit's happening where pedophilia happens, and it's fucking crazy. He's like, to almost become a celebrity, you have to do like some weird shit. Like it's not just like
Celebrities aren't right in the head.
Like as far as like the LA style, like how you get famous in that culture, and it's crazy.
Try to blackmail you and get stuff on you.
And then the amount of celebrities that are coming out that were at these parties and where weird shit went on, and then you're almost like it's literally.
I wouldn't be surprised if you supported the Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, it's Jeffrey Epstein. It's like literally Jeffrey, and that's what they're comparing it to. It's Jeffrey Epstein 2.0.
Yeah.
And then I don't agree with like just jumping the gun and like condemning somebody right away. But the evidence is so astronomical. And this is where I get pissed at people.
Yeah.
I'm like, guys, it's so clear that some shady shit was going on.
Yeah, the evidence is definitely stacked against him. I mean, Meek Mill spoke out against it, and he fled the country. He literally pulled
if you're not guilty, you don't run.
Who's that actor? He was part of Castaway. Tom Hanks. He literally pulled a Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
Once the Jeffrey Epstein's list was going to get revealed, he fled the country to where he couldn't get
extradited.
Go to jail.
Yeah.
And everyone knows Tom Hanks likes some young.
Yeah.
Kind of like Bill Clinton, bro.
Yeah.
So,
Talk about a guy that should be in fucking prison. Even when that list came out, he
oh
didn't
my
go.
God, yeah.
Him and Hillary might be the most fucking evil people. I don't know. Besides Bill Gates, right now, he's really on the top of my list.
Bill
And
Gates
he's
is pretty far up
low
there, too,
key
for
about
me.
it too. I mean, you only realize during that vaccine
So many
time.
people applaud him and act like he is.
Dude, that guy is a fucking evil guy.
Yeah.
And hearing what I'm diverting a little bit, but even hearing what his ex-wife said about him, it changes your whole perspective about who that guy really is. But it's about they keep that clean image, right? They're so good at like, that's sociopath. It's the definition of a sociopath.
It is, yeah.
But being a celebrity, I think, is almost like you're a sociopath, right? You're really full of yourself. Everybody's telling you you're the greatest all the time. So even if I was watching a thing about this, even if you went into it and you had good intentions, right? But then you become extremely famous, these people they want to be in your life because they're going to get something from you. So you do no wrong in their eyes. Mm-hmm. They're going to do anything you tell them to do. It's like being a fucking king in your little group. You know what I mean? It's so much power to be a celebrity now. You have so much influence on this, you know what I mean, this world.
They do. They have authority. They have a lot of authority over him. I mean, it's the same thing with Hollywood. Did you see the Nickelodeon shows? I mean, the way that they were hiring pedophiles and how Dan, I forgot his last name, Dan, the director of Nickelodeon was getting away with these sexual innuendos on these children TV shows, and adults are looking at it like, what the fuck? And these kids are young. You don't know what's going on. We don't know what we're watching.
Yeah.
But there was clearly getting off by it on some way. Hollywood is all fucked.
Yeah.
It is.
But it's like, it's not even like I think there's genuine influence. It's like the Hollywood scene and how to get famous there.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people talk about it. I mean, Cat Williams, everybody calls him crazy, but he has a lot of good points. He said like
He's a little out there, but
yeah,
he does have good
100%.
points, yeah.
Like what he said was so true. He said, dude, trust me, I've seen it. He's like, you can get clear success if you just do what these guys tell you to do.
Right.
And it might just be some
If you
weird
wear a
fucking
dress on
shit.
SNL
Yeah.
It's
He's like,
pretty obvious,
it might be some weird shit. He's like, some people got famous out of nowhere. They never posted on social media. They had no real talents before.
Yeah.
And he's like, then they just pop up and they're in this scene. And you're like, nobody questions like, what's going on here? Nobody looks deeper into it. And I think this whole charade is about to be fucking opened up. I think that P. Diddy, like Jeffrey Epstein, everybody kind of swept it under the rug, which was kind of crazy. But now that we're seeing another big guy, and I think that this is just going to continue to happen. Like, we're going to start seeing more and more of this. I think, you know what I mean? Like,
exploited.
Yeah. Meaning people are going to be fucking, even the celebrities that are already being exploited that were at these parties were underage girls and mostly men.
Oh, I hope
in
they go
P.
to
Diddy's
jail,
case.
prison, fuck.
Yeah, P. Diddy's case, it sounds like young males.
Yeah.
Which is really weird. Yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of people go to jail on this one. Because everybody's wondering why, and I was watching a video about this.
Video got cut off because my phone died. I'm sorry. I hope you guys really enjoyed the podcast. Hit like, subscribe, or comment down below.